you're going to tell us about what's been going on in terms of mass media power and sort of further consolidation and how that presents a threat to all the smaller players.
Yes, time is tight, so I might make this kind of a cliffhanger, but Sun Valley, Idaho, each year is where the Bilderberg Jr., you might say, confab takes place. I have a slide from one of the more gossipy news organizations. In fact, the gossip news organizations provide the main coverage and ironically often do a better job than what any mainstream media coverage might come along. This one from Deadline, dated July 9th, right when Sun Valley was taking place. Touching down in Sun Valley, can moguls find answers to media's pressing questions amid the Ponderosa Pines? It shows Warner Brother Discovery's David Zaslav and Disney's Bob Iger. Disney owns ABC, of course. They're arriving there. Now, what's interesting is in the next slide, and like I say, I'll probably have kind of a cliffhanger that we can talk about in extra, but what happened at Sun Valley 2025 by Fast Company, another sort of gossip rag, 14 July, as this thing was really kicking into high gear. Likely acquisition of the Free Press, an online media source by Skydance Media, and David Ellison, who's Skydance's CEO. David Ellison, and yes, he is the son of Oracle's Larry Ellison. He attended Sun Valley alongside Miss Bari Weiss. That's a lady, Miss Bari Weiss, who's a center-left pro-Israel Free Press co-founder. But the New York Times learned that if Skydance purchases the Free Press and Skydance wants to purchase Paramount, which owns CBS, in a huge deal, $8 billion. So there's two purchases going on. And yet the Times is saying that if Skydance purchases the Free Press as well as Paramount, then Miss Weiss could take a major role in shaping the CBS News editorial direction. And she's very pro-Israel, very interesting there. So that's some of the goings on. There's another kind of juicy item. I'll save that for extra in the interest of time, having to do with more details about Skydance buying Paramount, which owns CBS, and some of the machinations there. So that should do for now.
Super. Thanks very much, Mark. And a rare cliffhanger there for the UK column audience. So look forward to that in extra. Now, we're just going to close out the programme by looking at what's going on in the civil service, because the BBC have announced that they are going to be looking at working class people for interns, however exactly the BBC or indeed the civil service describe such a thing. This seems to come from the 2016 document, Socioeconomic Diversity in the Far Stream. So I thought we would go to a place where we can wind the clock back a little bit as to exactly what the purpose of a civil servant really is or should be.
Makes me feel rather downcast. If it's our job to carry out government policies, shouldn't we believe in them?
What an extraordinary idea.
Why?
Bernard, I have served 11 governments in the past 30 years. If I'd believed in all their policies, I would have been passionately committed to keeping out of the common market and passionately committed to going into it. I would have been utterly convinced of the rightness of nationalizing steel and of denationalizing it and renationalizing it. In capital punishment, I'd have been a fervent retentionist and an ardent abolitionist. I would have been a Keynesian and a Friedmanite, a grammar school preserver and destroyer, a nationalization freak and a privatization maniac, but above all, I would have been a stark, staring, raving schizophrenic.
So I don't know that it necessarily matters which socioeconomic group you believe you belong to, but that's a good note to end on, I think. So very many thanks to Mark and to Mike for joining us on the live link, and indeed for Patrick joining me in the studio. Thanks very much. And please do make sure that you spend the weekend thinking about getting your ticket for, first of all, Hope Freedom, as well as the UK Column event in York. And indeed, don't forget that the Germ Warfare banter session goes out at 7 o'clock tonight. If you are a member, do join us in a few minutes for extra. If you're not, please consider joining us as a member. Otherwise, I hope you have a lovely weekend, and we will look forward to seeing you on Monday for the news programme at 1 o'clock. Bye-bye.